My passion is pro wrestling, so I talk about a lot of pro wrestling on this channel, but today I'm gonna kill my channel on the algorithm. Fact is, just like professional wrestling, I'm super passionate about anime too, and it goes hand in hand, to be honest with you, because I see a lot of people who watch professional wrestling also watch anime. In fact, some of the biggest anime channels out there, I know for a fact, are huge pro wrestling fans. So, man, the thing I want to talk about is not that though. I want to talk about Kaiju number 8. This is the anime of the year. This is one of the best animes that I've seen right now, today, for, you know, up until episode 4. Everything could go haywire, but I'm just so passionate about this whole anime that I want to share it with you. So, I'm sure you've heard of it, or perhaps you yourself have seen it already. If that's the case, let's share a passion here together. Let's geek out about the show. If you've not seen it though, as of yet, and if you enjoy stuff like Boku no Hero Academia or Shingeki no Kyojin, or really any good quality shonen that I'm not talking about right now, I think you're going to absolutely love Kaiju number 8. Now I'm gonna start this with a controversial comment, but there are two things in life that absolutely turn me the hell off and make me run away, and one of those is mechas, and the others are kaijus. Whenever I see Godzilla, I run the hell away. I just don't like mecha or like the big giant monster thing. It just bores the hell out of me. But there have been shows that made me look the other way. And once they're able to do that, the only reason they're able to do that is because the show itself is just so amazing that I don't care if it's mecha or not. So I think Attack on Titan falls into one of those categories, because Titans are basically mecha, but the show, the story, everything about it is so good. The music, oh my god, the music, that, you know, I didn't care. I watched the whole thing. Same thing with Code Geass. I mean, it is a mecha show. Yep. I mean, you do have the robots. It's clear as day. But again, the story is just so good that I ignored all of that. And it's the same with this one. I remember watching the first episode and seeing a kaiju come out in the, you know, first few minutes. I was like, oh my god, why did I even watch this? Why am I even getting into this? And then the anime goes ahead and shows us a normal guy in his 30s just doing cleanup duty. So it's not even the fun part of just like destroying the kaijus and all the explosions and stuff like that. No, I guess this anime is about the cleanup. I was this close to just closing it off and leaving, and I'm super glad I didn't. I decided to stick by because I was like, wait a minute, either this is gonna get way more interesting, or they have written such a masterpiece that cleanup duty in the show that we're about to watch is gonna be interesting. They're gonna make cleaning up monsters, especially their feces, they're gonna make that an interesting thing. So one way or another, at least I gotta see through this first episode. And pretty quickly, the show stabbed me right in the heart, because we get to learn about the main character, Kafka Hibino. I mean, you see him pretty quickly in the episode, and he seems like a likable guy, but then you learn that this guy who's in cleanup duty wanted to do more than that. He wanted to be one of the people that takes on these giant monsters. Something happened during his childhood, and he made a promise to this girl that together they would become like the greatest, you know, kaiju slayers. Kind of like Eren saying, I'm gonna destroy all of the titans, but the same promise made by two people. And that girl went on to become the best, the poster child for everything. While the other guy, he's not even, you know, a soldier, or you know, he doesn't have a gun. The only gun he uses is to clean up. He's, you know, at the very bottom while the girl's at the top. So not only there's that, but there's also the fact that this guy kind of gave up on his dreams of becoming what he wanted. And although he keeps a smile on his face, and whenever somebody asks of him like, you know, are you happy about this? Are you good with this? He's like, yeah. You know what I mean? I gave it my all. I gave it my best. It just wasn't for me. I just couldn't do it. That's what he says, but he's clearly dead about it on the inside. He hates it. He hates that fact, and he tries not to think about the girl that has become the poster child now, and like he sees her on TV and it's like, oh my god, I should have been there with her, or like, well, like what did she do better than me? Is she better than me? Who the hell is she to even be in that position? And it's like, oh, I shouldn't think like that. And like all of that is extremely relatable. The guy is obviously in the beginning of his 30s, I'm mid-20s, and I'm not alone. I'm sure if you are also around the same age as I am, in your mid-20s, you try to figure out who you are and where you want to go. And that could mean following your dream, or that could mean giving up on your dream. And that could mean giving up on your dream, but just like Kafka here, kind of hating yourself for it, or kind of never really coming to terms with it completely. Having that bit of fire left inside you saying, what if, man, is there a way I can do this again? I should do this again. But no, I couldn't. Like, I tried so many times. It's just never gonna happen. I'm not built for this. This constant battle of I want this with every fiber of my being, but man, I guess it's not gonna happen, so I'm just gonna hide behind the mask, even pretend to myself, fool myself into thinking that I just gave up on my dream, and that's okay. That's where Kafka is, man. And it looks like the anime is gonna continue that way until Kohai, a white-haired Kohai, joins his life, and he kind of challenges Kafka on his BS. He calls him out. He says, "You giving up is kind of pathetic." And then later on, they have a moment and says, "You know what I mean? When I said it's kind of pathetic, I said it because, man, when you said you gave up and you were fine with it, you did not seem fine with it at all. I saw right through you. This thing eats you up inside." And then he says, "Look, to be a soldier or whatever, the test you had to take, it usually was for younger people, but because everybody's so old and fragile and dying in Japan, the age has been relaxed. So hey, you still got one more shot to do this." And there you go. You have your amazing setup right there. And me personally, I tried to become a professional wrestler. I found that the lifestyle of professional wrestling was just way too tough for me. And I sort of gave up on it, at least for now. Maybe life will point me in a different direction in the future. But it was my childhood dream, and I said no, and I was really coping with it in many ways, the same way that Kafka was coping with him not really realizing his dream. And look, I can't speak at all, okay? Like, the anime just puts all these themes and storylines and interwoves them in a masterful way. I'm missing all the details here, but I'm actually kind of doing that intentionally too, because if you haven't watched it, I do want you to 100% watch this. It's just a great premise, and like, I immediately basically fell in love with the premise itself, and like, I want to root for Kafka forever now to have him meet his dreams. And the ending of the first episode is insane, to a point where I thought, oh, now it's gonna suck. Like, the guy has become way too something, and they're just gonna use this to be lazy with the plot. But no, they use it in a beautiful way. And in the third episode, by the way, the guy has to take that test, right? The practical side of it. And it literally reminded me of Boku no Hero Academia episode 3, where Deku was in that test, and you know, he goes ahead and for the first time ever legitly, you know, uses one for all and punches that robot, and like, you think the robot is gonna get damaged a little, but no, it gets knocked back with a huge dent and it explodes. And like, the amount of goosebumps I had, I still have them right now. I don't know if you can see them, but oh my goodness, you know what I mean? That's when I became a huge fan of Boku no Hero Academia. And like I said in the beginning of the video, there's no promise that Kaiju number 8 is gonna not suck by the end, but I seriously don't see it happening, because just like Boku no Hero Academia, this show also had, you know, great episode 3 with the whole testing thing, whole bunch of awesome characters that you want to see, you know, the story of what's gonna happen to them in the next episode, what's gonna happen in the next episode in general. I've not consumed an anime like I've consumed Kaiju number 8 ever since probably the first season of Attack on Titan. Literally, it felt like I had bloodlust. I've watched the whole 4 episodes right after one another, clicking like crazy when an episode ended. Again, this is not one of the greatest shows of the season. This might be one of the greatest shows of all time. Certainly feel like by the time it ends, it is gonna be way up there on my list, depending on how they handle everything. That being said, if you haven't checked out this show, man, check it out. And if you have your own recommendations to me or to other people, make sure to leave them down in the comments. I am looking for some cool anime to watch. That being said, I'll see you on the next one.